Hey everybody, welcome to Beards and Bitcoins, the crypto podcast for the man's man and the women who love them. Today we got a really special episode for you guys. We are coming live with the guys from the Bad Crypto podcast. I'm your co-host, BitBoy. This is your co-host, J Chains. What is going on?
Oh man, another day in the life, living the dream. Here we go. I'm super excited about this one, man. Super excited to talk to these guys. I know we had a great time in Orlando when we saw them at the podcast conference. I feel like today's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, exactly. So we're joined today by Joel and Impartial Emoji, or at least that's what it says on his name tag down there. Travis, what is going on, guys? How are you guys doing?
My name is Impartial Emoji. That is weird. What the hell is up with that? I typed that. I finally get it now. I see why you guys were saying that. I was like, what? I don't see that. Oh, there. My name is that now. Yeah. I see. Great. Yeah. We're using a new tool platform here, but it's all good. We had fun chatting in Orlando, talking about the cryptos and doing some VR, huh?
Oh, that camera was wild, man.
No, I have not seen it. Where it at though? Yeah, that thing was actually phenomenal. So we can't wait to look at that and check it out. I try to do it right now while we're on camera, and it's very confusing looking at myself. So
that's true. What's really a trip, though, dude, is like, did you put the headset on and look at yourself in real time, but like with a 5-second delay?
It's with real time, but a 5-second delay. Yeah.
And you guys were giving us smoochies too.
Yeah, that was funny. They give you that 5-second delay because the FCC doesn't know what's going to come out of your guys' mouth, so they got to have that 5-second delay.
That's true. That's true. We like to keep it family friendly here. I know J Chains, he likes to let it rip sometimes. So it's actually me. It's not the FCC. It's actually me that put that on there. So
I think Joel just let it rip right there. He with his iFart app.
Oh, he is the creator of the iFart app. Is that correct?
That is true.
What was the inspiration for the iFart app? Well, could you explain it first, and then let's go into the inspiration.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I don't know if I should go here, but sometimes I let him build up that long as well. So, yeah, that's the farts, guys, the farts.
That's good. You got to let him rip. You know
you got to let him rip. I mean, it just works better when you do that.
That's the name of this podcast. We're just letting it rip. We're doing back-to-back podcasts right here, folks.
That's
you can listen to these. You can listen to these yahoos over on our podcast, Bad Crypto, as well. We're doing it all at the same time.
That is actually the app, guys. That's not one of us. You can hear the app right now. There it goes.
Pardon me. Wow, that was awkward.
Impartial
this mic is
emoji,
really good.
Yeah, we know which emoji he is. So
that's true. I'm the poo emoji.
That's right.
With the puff of wind. It's the poo emoji with the puff of wind. That's mine. But I'm impartial about it. It doesn't really matter.
I was about to say you have to be impartial. I mean, the wind kind of implies like it's strong, but you want to be impartial. You want to be in the middle of the cheeks there. So we talked to you guys. I actually ran into Joel at the Bitcoin 2019 conference, which was during the high of the year for Bitcoin, right? Price was up around 14,000 during that conference. It was really fun. Then we ran into you guys at the podcasting conference. We were the only crypto podcasters that were down there. It was a huge conference. What did you guys think about the conference? And kind of how do you compare it to crypto conferences?
I would say it was exactly the same because it was mostly dudes. Which is weird. Crypto conferences are like 85% dudes. Podcasters seem to be about 80% dudes. It's strange. There was nobody dancing on a dance floor because there was all dudes.
That's true, but I would say that 20% that would be female is better looking than the crypto female.
Okay, that was very.
That's strong. That's a strong statement. That's a strong statement.
You just offended all the ugly people. Good job.
Well,
Yeah, I'll take the heat for that.
But I'll tell you who the DJ the first night of the conference, DJ Bad Ash. Was her name?
Bad Ash. Oh, yeah.
Bad Ash. She was Bad Ash. And the thing about her...
I went up and gave her a sticker, Bad Crypto sticker.
Oh, did you?
Like, hey, we're both bad. Let me know.
Oh,
Room 218.
Ooh.
Whoa. Okay, so the thing about Bad Ash was that the crazy thing is she was the only person on the stage. She was like a DJ. And whenever you would walk by her, she would like lock eyes on you and stare at you like very intensely. Did anybody else notice that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
She was very friendly. She would smile at everyone. She would look at and smile. That's why it make the ugly dudes like us feel good.
That's right.
You are right, though. Like literally, you could be walking by, and if you happen to make eye contact, she would make you feel inferior.
She would stare you down. Yeah. It was kind of like a reverse ironic catcall. Like that's what it was. It wasn't a cat call. She wasn't calling on you. She was like intimidating you with her eyes. Like, please do not look up here at me. I will stare you down. That's how it felt.
That's pretty badass.
Pretty badass.
She was in a bikini, so it's hard not to look. And there's a lot of nerds there too, so everybody was looking.
Yeah. So that was definitely the beginning of the conference, was the little party where the DJ was and things like that. But one thing that I noticed about the podcast movement conference compared to crypto conferences I've been to, which I've been to a lot of crypto conferences, it seemed like they actually managed to stay on schedule, in the events and the speakers were where they were supposed to be. I found like with crypto conferences, it seems like so many times they have to change the speakers, or this person doesn't show up, or, like this thing was supposed to be at this time, but they move it to another time in another place. Do you think that just was really due to the fact that crypto is still just such an emerging industry? Or do you think there's some kind of like bigger problem with cryptocurrency that makes it where all these conferences, they can't really seem to get it very organized?
Yeah, I would say, and this is what, their fifth or sixth one they've had, so they've been able to wrinkle out, any of the problems. A lot of these conferences are their first time they've ever done it, right? Like Consensus seemed to me to be pretty locked down. Were you guys at Consensus?
Yeah, I was. And I agree with you. Consensus definitely has, CoinDesk is behind Consensus, and they actually spend the entire year planning it. I feel like a lot of the other conferences, I feel like they don't get started planning early enough, and it kind of shows. And they don't get the commitment that it seems like CoinDesk gets better commitments from the more professional speakers, I guess is a good way to say it.
That's a good way to put it. I think, we even noticed, like when we were going through like a little goodie bag, even the extent to like the program for the conference was much better than any program of any crypto conference that I'd ever seen. I know something I remember talking about with a couple people. I did.
Yeah. Yeah.
They hosed me on that. So thanks.
Oh, you didn't get one of those?
No, W's.
Yeah.
They didn't.
No, I literally have it. It's actually standing here in one of my.
Wow.
Actually, I'll grab it.
How about that?
I will grab it right here. Oh, here it is, folks. You can't see it because we're not videoing, but I'm showing all of them. Look at this thing.
Yeah. I got one of those in the mail too.
Pretty crazy. They had you open it up and it had like your tickets and your badges and everything in it. It's like,
and it had your
I've never
fancy
seen
name on it.
Anything like this thing before. It was crazy.
Yeah, it was good. It was definitely good, the presentation of what they gave out. But the thing about World CryptoCon was even with that conference, they changed the price structure like 9 times kind of on the fly. And I feel like you're really right, though, when you say that podcast movement has had 5 or 6 cracks at it. There is no crypto conference, to my knowledge, that is on its 5th or 6th one, I would think. Is
Bitcoin 2000, they did Bitcoin 2019 conference. They name it whatever year it is each time. Right. I think they've done that since like 2013. So that might be the only one, I think, that has been doing it.
Yeah, there certainly aren't many. That's for sure.
Right on.
Yeah. So, but it was good being down there and getting to hang out and talk with you guys. And, kind of one thing I feel like we have in common as podcasters is we try to kind of appeal to, the average person, the normal person, not the people that are, super, super, super techie and that, or the people that are completely obsessed with the price, just kind of your average person that's into crypto. And what was kind of your guys' thinking behind getting your podcast started and trying to kind of reach out to just your everyday crypto enthusiast? That is true. That is true. We are dudes. Yeah.
You did not say hella. Did you say hella? Wow. Because I didn't remember hella ever coming up in the conversation. Yeah. We're going to call it the Impartial Crypto Podcast. And that's just an inside joke for us 4, which is great. Well, Jay Chains and I are really big on making inside jokes to each other during the podcast that literally no one understands and is only for us. We just made that one right there.
That's good. We did it. We're keeping on brand. So, I've really found that, I've been doing some videos lately where I'm going out and I'm just talking to people and asking them questions like whether they would rather have, maybe $15 in Bitcoin or $5 in cash. Or this weekend we went out and shot a video where we talked to people about, what they know about the US dollar compared to Bitcoin. And what I'm finding is, that the average, person who's not into crypto that's out there, they really know basically nothing about Bitcoin. They'll generally say it's a digital currency. They'll say, falsely, unknowingly, that it's untraceable and that people use it on the black market and the dark web and that the price is very volatile. That's basically the only thing that people know about Bitcoin. And so I've really been taking it upon myself and on our podcast here to try to really educate people that don't know about Bitcoin. And how do you think that we can reach those people?
Okay. Well, no, you're right on. What was the question?
See, it's hard. It's harder when we're staring at each other's lakes.
Yeah. No, it's like, how do we engage our fans? Is that was the gist of the question?
The opposite. Like we're kind of in this, time in cryptocurrency where it's really such an echo chamber. Like, how can we reach the people that are outside of cryptocurrency, that aren't on crypto Twitter or listening to our podcast? Well,
we've had, this is one of those things that we have chatted about, is that, what is that watershed moment, like whenever Netscape sort of launched Netscape and everybody got on the internet. Mr. Joel Comm, he has said that, he thinks that Libra could potentially do that. If that actually sort of pops out, that could be the Netscape moment. That's going to be, and I think that, knowing that, Fidelity and some of these big, investment firms and stuff are accepting crypto, and when some of the ETFs and stuff and just Bitcoin is just slowly, joining people's vernacular, they're slowly becoming aware of it. And, big corporations are building stuff with it, and it's not just for the criminals anymore, right? So that's one of the things is that it's disrupting so many industries.
Not for the criminals.
I like that.
That is good.
Yeah. Although the creator, Satoshi Nakamoto, could be this Paul LaRue guy who is a criminal mastermind and cryptographer who's been in jail since 2012. So imagine if the creator of Bitcoin is actually like a mastermind Dr. Evil type guy. It's crazy.
Imagine if it was Craig Wright.
It's like Craig Wright's guy, some guy Craig Wright worked with. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's definitely not a good look for whoever, one person who I talked to recently said, said, what do you know about Bitcoin? And they said, oh, well, I know they don't know the guy that created it. And I was like, wow, that's really interesting that that's one of the first things that people say. But we recently had the Satoshi reveal, right? Where the guy came out and said he was really Satoshi. And of course, unsurprisingly, he doesn't have access to his Bitcoins or to his Bitcoin. I've recently learned that Bitcoins is not a word. The plural is Bitcoin. So our podcast is a falsely named podcast.
But that guy looked like Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, he did. It's like they took the worst picture they could possibly find of him and put it up. So, that's one option that none of us think is correct. We recently had Craig Wright in court who claiming he's Satoshi, and the court said they believe he forged a bunch of documents and his whole story is fraudulent. Then, of course, we have this interesting story about Paul Calder LaRue. What do you think about that story? That's an interesting one. Do you think that really is a possibility?
Well, yeah. I would say I would give it at least 87.25% chance, I would say, that he is actually, because the dude went to prison 2012. Satoshi Nakamoto's, his Bitcoin is stored on this cryptography protocol that this Paul LaRue guy created. Yeah. And there's all these conversations and stuff, and they've matched up things that he said before and the Satoshi white paper, and it's like it looks like it could be that dude. I don't know. It's weird to think that a criminal mastermind could actually be the one who disrupts global banking. Isn't that weird?
I personally think that'd be fantastic. I mean,
it's like a James Bond kind of thing.
Yeah.
We never even heard about this dude. How is this dude already a criminal mastermind, has done all this illegal shit, and he's one of the U.S.'s prized freaking, prisoners at this point. But I'd never even heard about it until his name was leaked as a little footnote on the Craig Wright lawsuit. It mentioned Paul LaRue, and that just takes you down a rabbit hole. Like, who's this dude? And then you found out he's done all this crazy shit. He's like John McAfee wishes he was.
Yeah. Well, he even went by a nickname Solatoshi, which is very close to Satoshi. According to the guy who recently revealed himself as Satoshi, numerology is all that matters when it comes to figuring out who Satoshi is. So I don't know if you guys saw that. He loves Chaldean numerology. So, but the thing about it is, I've thought about this as well, because Travis, I really actually agree with you. To me, out of all of the, fake Satoshi reveals or, exposés we've had on this guy could be Satoshi, this guy could be Satoshi, that is the one that makes the most sense. There's so much in that story that kind of fills in some gaps, you know, like some things we wonder about when it comes to trying to figure out who this person is. And one thing I thought about is that, you know, he could be he's obviously under arrest, I believe, in the United States. And he could have some kind of agreement with the United States where they'll go easier on his sentence or, you know, something like that if he maybe never touches a computer again, because that's what they've done with Ross Ulbricht. You know, Ross is not allowed to touch computers, period. So they could do something like that to kind of keep him quiet. And then that would, you know, keep the main thing anybody is concerned about when it comes to who is Satoshi is those Bitcoins that he has, because that's 1/18th of the supply, basically. And those could really kind of wreck the market if those just came flooding back in at any point. Do you think we'll ever see those Bitcoins again?
Hard to say, man. Yeah, and if it was that dude, right? Like, it's really not good for PR. Oh yeah, a criminal mastermind created Bitcoin. Like, that's not going to help its image or its adoption, right? And it anymore.
Right. Anymore. I was about to say, you have to have the anymore there.
Right. Join the Silk Road today. We have heroin and cocaine and other random stuff. Dislike your spouse? We got that for you covered too.
Only 0.009 Bitcoin per month.
Oh my gosh. That's
so
crazy.
Yeah, but I you know, it's one of these things that's very interesting, and you know, I want to get your thoughts on it too, J Chains. But you know, it's one of these things where none of us really, I think, in our hearts, like, we want the answer to it, but it's one of these things that we're almost always going to try to investigate. And anytime there's a story about who could be Satoshi, like, you want to read it, you want to research, you want to look into it, but yet you don't really want to find the answer because it's better for kind of the legendary folk hero status of Satoshi Nakamoto. And plus, if the person who created it was still alive, then that really does open it up for someone to be like, oh yes, I am Satoshi. Oh, this really is not my vision. And so without that, I think it's much better for the space. What do you think, J Chains?
Oh, I mean, absolutely. I like, you know, kind of what everybody's been saying. You know, there's a mystery that surrounds it. You know, you don't really know. It's kind of nice that way. It's more comforting to know that. Like you said, it could be horrible for the image if you find out that it's a criminal mastermind. It could be detrimental, you know, if it ends up being the wrong person for the whole movement. So I like knowing that it's not known at this particular moment. I'd like to keep it that way.
I bet he probably doesn't want it to be known either. If whoever it is like, it's like if he has held on to those Bitcoin now for 10 years, 9 years, whatever the number is, like, he obviously doesn't want people to know, and he's not moving. He's not taking personal, profit from this yet, right? It's just crazy to think that none of it has been peeled off unless he had another account that he had been working off of or whatever. But if the dude's in prison, then that would make a whole lot of sense. The dude's was a badass in cryptography. Like, I actually, whenever I read that story, we had interviewed Ben Mesrick. Ben Mesrick was the dude who wrote the book Bitcoin Billionaires. He also wrote the book that was about this, that became the movie The Social Network, right? We interviewed
really?
him.
Wow.
Yeah, so which was really cool. You guys should have him on your show. He talks about, how the Winklevoss twins were the way they were and how they were portrayed in the first movie, and now how it's sort of like a redemption deal, and how they're doing with Bitcoin and blah,
right.
blah, blah. Well, I sent this story over to him, and he read it, and he goes, oh, man. He goes, what did he say? That was a great story. Like, it just seems to me like this Paul LaRue guy is like a movie waiting to happen. Like, we don't know. And if he's Satoshi Nakamoto, like 10 years later, we find out or something, like, that's just could be madness.
Could you imagine coming out of jail and being a billionaire?
Almost a trillionaire potentially by the time it's all done.
Well, do you guys want to know the number? What number, here's a little trivia for you, does Bitcoin have to get to for Satoshi Nakamoto to become the richest man on the planet?
50K?
Close. Any other guesses? Do we have any other guesses?
Is it? Yeah.
Relatively speaking.
Well, the richest person in the world's got what? 65 billion. Is there 100 billionaire yet? I don't think there is.
I don't think so. I don't think there's 100 billion, but I think somebody's
I don't think there's a 75 billionaire either. I think it's somewhere between 65 and 75 billion. So whatever it takes for his to get to bigger than that. I don't know how long that would be. How long is it?
Oh, actually, no. We do now have a 100 billionaire. It's Jeff Bezos. He's worth $110 billion. He's the richest person in the world.
His wife's got about 50 of that.
Well, yeah, he's about to get that cut in half for that.
That's true. He's about to go down.
So he's not.
It's going to be horrible. And it's going to be 2 55s up there with Mrs. Bezos, the former.
Oh my gosh, does he have kids? How will they eat?
I don't know. I'm just trying to take care of my family up in here with my 110 billion.
But the number that I read as recent as a couple months ago was $60,000. Once Bitcoin gets to $60,000, whatever that math adds up to. But I guess maybe that's based on him getting that divorce and having to split that money.
Yeah, well, that number changes every time. It's like whatever Jeff Bezos has plus $1 divided by whatever Satoshi Nakamoto's Bitcoins plus times the price. Whenever that equals Jeff Bezos plus $1, then you know. And that changes every day. That's
I'm
the number.
To smash nerd alert on that little math equation there because I lost you.
That's good. No, somebody should make that as a website. Like, is Satoshi the richest.com? Oh yes. Oh no, he is not. He's got to pass Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, that would definitely be good. I think we should start that.
Start a gambling site. What's the over under? When it's going to happen? Let's take odds. Let's make some money.
I like it. I like money. I don't know about you guys.
Don't take my.
But yeah, so I do think it's the whole thing is very fascinating. It does definitely seem like a movie, but I think the other possibility, which I think is a really strong possibility, is that Satoshi is dead. I mean that would probably make the most logical sense, I would think. Like if we had not seen this story about Paul LaRue that kind of filled in some gaps and made us think like, oh, this could kind of be it. Like it makes the most sense for him to be dead because he just kind of disappeared. I would have thought it would have been
Hal Finney then, right? Because it seemed like Hal Finney, because it could have been Hal Finney, but if him and Hal Finney were having conversations, maybe that was Satoshi's way of saying, nope, not going to say it's me. I'm going to say I was talking to me so somebody won't think that it was me. So
he probably doesn't want, like what you said, he doesn't want people to know who he is because once his identity's out there, I'm sure there's a large tax bill coming right to him.
Oh, it's not just that. I mean, he suddenly becomes the most sought out person in the world, period.
Very true.
It is. It's been really hard for me being so famous, So, but yeah,
well, you were on the movie The Sandlot back in the day, right?
Yeah, that's genuinely funny. I was the dog.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're killing me, Smalls.
Ferocious. Yeah, you're killing me, Smalls.
The Beast.
The Beast. Yeah, I was the Beast. That was me. But yeah, so I don't know if we'll ever find out who it is. It is one of those things. It's fun to investigate. It's fun to look at. But, the thing is it really could have a huge impact on the price if all of a sudden those things were to start moving. So I think we all kind of agree, like, hopefully they'll never be on the move. And, Joel, you brought up a good point, which is, yeah, you really did. You really did. This is actually your first great point you brought up since you talked about people liking farts. Oh, yeah. I actually gave you a little more credit than that, which was actually when you said that maybe he has another account. Like, we don't know. Like, maybe one of these big Bitcoin wallets that has, 100,000 Bitcoins in it or whatever, like, maybe he has one of those too, and we just don't know it. I mean, he could have easily started mining from a different computer, after all those Genesis wallets were formed or whatever. So I don't know if you guys ever thought about that maybe, who knows, maybe he has more Bitcoin and he's using it. He's just already rich beyond his wildest dreams.
It's an enigma wrapped around a mystery, mapped around an impartial emoji.
That's it.
It all comes full circle.
Wrapped in bacon. There you go.
I do love bacon a lot. So, well, cool. Well, yeah. So you said you had the guy on from Bitcoin Millionaires, or was it Bitcoin Billionaires? What was the name of the book? Bit measured. Yeah. So I've definitely seen a lot of people talking about that book. I haven't read it myself. Do you guys read a lot of books yourselves? I don't either.
I like to read books. I read
you
books.
do. So
man, I got a ton of great books. I love books.
We do a lot of audiobooks in our house.
I love those as well. Podcast, audiobooks, regular books.
I got real bad ADD, so I can't sit down and read a book.
You forgot the re.
Yeah, the re.
Yeah. That was it. You just offended me right there.
Yeah. So books are
offended.com? Yes, good. It just says good. Yeah. The offendometer. We need to have an offendometer, and you can just go rate how you are offended at that moment, and then it just tells you to freaking deal with it.
So books are bad. Audiobooks are worse, but podcasts are the very, very worst, right? For anything. I mean, podcasts are terrible. Nobody should listen to them. You disagree? Well, I just tried to offend everyone in the audience and on the show at the same time.
Oh, yeah.
Did I
If
succeed?
you're listening to podcasts, you guys are stupid.
You guys are so lame. Podcasts are interesting because it's a very interesting form of media where, like with YouTube videos, I feel like people hardly ever actually finish it. Like I hardly ever finish a YouTube video. But podcasts, people a lot of times they'll listen to the whole thing through because they're kind of doing it while they're doing something different. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely a very interesting medium, and I think it's.
I could never make it through a whole porno movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
30 seconds in, you're done.
Wow. I think there's probably been very few that have been watched from start to finish. You probably are correct there.
It's probably true.
Well, yeah. I don't know about maybe finish, but no start.
That's so funny.
Yeah. Well, I think that will about do it for us for this episode. What do you think, Jay Chains? You got any more questions?
No, man. I think that this was fun. I look forward to talking with you guys again soon. I'm sure we can probably arrange something like that.
Yeah, I'm nonplussed. I'm impartial.
Yeah, and one of you has a beard too, so you have a beard in it as well.
I have a goatee, so it counts, doesn't it?
It's a little. I don't know.
The rest of my beard's a little AIDSy looking. It's like it's like I got mange or something. It's like, is this dude homeless? He should really shave that atrocity.
He did say that. He did say AIDSy. That's great.
That's good. I'm sorry if I offended any of your listeners. If I did, you can come over to Bad Crypto and listen to us over there, and we'll offend you there too.
Absolutely. We actually know that there is, as far as guidelines go, because we interviewed one of the gentlemen who won the 2017 World Beard Championship in the goatee division. So as long as there is a 2-inch separation between your top head and your facial hair, that's considered a beard. Anything more than that, I think that's where you go into the goatee.
Okay. Good to know.
If you ever want to go professional goatee, there you go.
I don't, but I appreciate the offer.
Yeah. Just looking out for you. That's all.
Awesome. Well, Joel and Travis, tell everybody where they can find you at.
Yeah, you can find me in Kansas City.
Nice.
KC, baby.
KC, they got some barbecue there, and we do love barbecue. We love all things that men like, and barbecue.
We should do that sometime. Have a little barbecue off, because I'm in Texas, and I know you guys got good sauce, but I think we got better brisket.
Yeah, we got great barbecue, and we got Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
That's true.
Good. How many people do you think picked him number one for fantasy in their drafts?
Not many, because he's not. I mean, he's probably the number one quarterback taken, but everybody was picking Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey and those guys first. So, but I think Mahomes is definitely going to be, I think, as good as he's advertised. So,
well, I tell you what, we have I believe it to be the fastest core of wide receivers in the history of the NFL.
Oh yeah, because you got a Georgia Bulldog on the team now.
Yeah, well, we wouldn't have drafted him if we hadn't had that issue with Tyreek Hill, and then he was cleared of all that stuff, and then so now we ended up getting another fast dude. So like all the great players of last year, for the most part, in the wide receivers, and the best tight end in the league, which is crazy. So
Andrew Luck retired, so
right,
that's good for you too. Not knocking down those AFC teams you got to get over.
That's true.
Well, we could definitely do a whole separate football episode for sure. So,
dude, I'm gonna do a sportscast show. I was thinking about setting up a sportscast like network of having funny people talking sports would be fun.
Yeah, you can count me in on it.
You should do the Fartcast. I think that's a brilliant idea.
Well, you can certainly count me in on the sportscast show. I'd love to come do that. So
right on.
I got a lot of cool football stuff going on. I also do I sell signed football helmets. We had the baddest Patrick Mahomes helmet last night you could imagine. So
was it like an auction thing or something?
Yeah, so we do this thing called Sports Break. We're pretty much done with the podcast. Maybe we should just say bye, and then we can edit that at the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to do it right now.
Goodbye.
All right, guys. Well, it was a blast. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. This is BitBoy, and on behalf of J Chains and Beards and Bitcoins podcast, we will talk to you guys later.
See you.
You got this shit knocking, bro.